morning, Ghana. Good morning, Africa. Good morning to the rest of the world. It's another beautiful Monday morning and a long weekend at that, because I thought it would never come, but Monday's morning is here and the team is ready. Bright, Amma, and George ready to rock your morning all the way till 9. Lady, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, right. But yeah, we did. Oh, I did. I don't know about George, but certainly he looks well rested. Oh, okay. But you know, you should be clapping for March. Of course, I've said March is the best month in the year, but you do realize every time in March, Bright comes from the weekend, he says it's been a long weekend. And so you should be grateful you have March.
Saturday dragged, Sunday, same. Yeah. I said, okay, Monday will not come now.
But then it came slowly and you still feel well rested.
It was a fantastic weekend. On the mountains there, we were at somewhere in the mountains, met a lot of guys, and very exciting weekend for some of us. But we don't know how yours went, but you can share what you did over the weekend with us as we get ready to get into Easter.
So guys, I would want to find out something from you. If all your prayers were answered, would it change the world or just yours?
No, it will change the whole world.
Entire world. So you pray for other people, right?
I do. I pray for Ghana, I pray for the world. I mean, ultimately, I feel if those things work, my happiness is secured, my comfort is secured. But if I pray for only myself and the next door neighbor is still an armed robber, I wouldn't have rest. So certainly,
so when you pray, you pray for the whole world.
Yes, I do. I pray for Ghana especially.
I'll just point you about this morning.
Wherever God places you, you're supposed to make a difference there, and then the difference will, you know, touch the whole country and by extension the world.
I see.
So you should.
You have a big prayer. Your prayer is very
big. But I'm sure it's small before God. There's nothing hard for him, is it?
Well, of course. I mean, that's the kind of God we serve. There's nothing big or too large for him. So certainly, if you're praying for the whole world, it means that you're indeed you're carrying a great burden. But of course, that's what we're commissioned to do. Pray for the world, get the world to be the kind of world we all want to live in. Hey, but we're getting gradually into the end of the month and then into the Easter festivities, and already you're beginning to see the conventions and the Easter getaways all over. I am hoping that this time all of you are following us to
Jekiti, but I'm going with you, right?
Okay, no, this time I have agreed to
Finally, I wonder what you did to please him.
He won't cause any trouble, so I've agreed to take him on.
No, that's all right.
Grateful.
All right. Right, so from now to 9 a.m., we're getting you ready to go to work, but we're starting the day as George is bringing us all the news that you missed over the weekend and now.
News is up next here on your favorite morning show, NewDay. I'm George Quinny. Thanks for watching. Just so you know, this news is also coming to you live on channel 279 on DSTV. Let's start off with our very first story. The Right to Information Bill may not be passed by Parliament before it rises on Friday, March 23. President Akufo-Addo on March 6 pledged to have the bill laid and passed before Parliament rises. But TV3 has gathered the bill is not part of business scheduled for next week. Catherine Frimpoma has more.
This is when the Business Committee briefs the House on what to expect in the ensuing week. The Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, in presenting the business statement, mentioned certain papers to be laid, as well as ministers who will answer questions on the floor of Parliament.
Right Honourable Speaker, you may read communication to the House whenever they are available. The Business Committee has programmed the following ministers to respond to questions asked of them during the week. Bills may be presented to the House, first reading, and those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in one day in accordance with Order 119.
The news team gathered the bill is unlikely to be laid before the House rises on Friday. The President, in his 61st Independence Day anniversary address, was emphatic the bill will be passed before the House rises for the Easter break.
After many years of hesitation, we intend to bring a bill again to Parliament and work to get it passed into law before the end of this meeting of Parliament.
The ranking member for Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni thinks the president was misinformed.
I think that the president was not adequately informed of the calendar of Parliament, and that's why on 6th March he said that we would pass it in this sitting. We cannot pass it in this sitting.
He, however, noted the committee was ready to facilitate a bill is passed with speed when laid.
I have had discussions with the chairman, and we have agreed that when the bill is laid, we will take it through the same procedure that we took the Office of the Special Prosecutor bill through. We'll do a stakeholder engagement for 2 days here in Parliament, and then probably move to Kofredua or Dodua or wherever and do a 2-day consideration of the clause by clause. And so that by the time, if it is late before we rise, by the time we come back, the report will be ready. We are prepared to work during this break to ensure that the bill is ready.
The Deputy Minister for Information, Kojo Oponkroma, is however optimistic it may be laid before Friday, though he's unable to give any timeline.
I do know, as I mentioned, that it has been laid before Cabinet. The updated works have been done on it. And like I said, I'm expecting that it will show up here in the shortest possible time. I am not really worried about whether it's Thursday or Friday. The important thing is to have it laid, to have it discussed and passed. And I've seen the commitment coming through from that side. And so we should all expect it here in the shortest possible time.
There's a countdown clock activated by the RTI coalition who are keenly watching and expecting it to be laid before Friday. And so what assurance would you give them?
I don't begrudge anybody who has a countdown clock on it. It is within their right to begin to count it down. But it is, for me, the big important thing, which is to ensure that it is laid and it is passed. It's not so much a matter of whether it's laid on Thursday or Wednesday.
An ultimatum given by the RTI Action Campaign Group expires on same day Parliament goes on recess. It's been 22 years since the IEA pioneered the first draft of the Right to Information Bill. Government came out with its draft, reviewed it in 2003, 2005 and 2007, but never took it to Parliament until February 5, 2010. In 2012, the bill lapsed and was relayed in 2016. In the final days of the state parliament, an effort by then Majority Leader Alban Bagbin to have the legislation passed was not successful, following objection by the then minority NPP. The NPP government in its 2016 manifesto promised to pass the bill when it regained power. Catherine Frimpoma, TV3 News, Accra.
And that was my colleague Catherine Frimpoma coming through with that report. And still on this development, the Right to Information Action Campaign Group is questioning government's commitment and passing the Right to Information Bill. And President Akufo-Addo at this year's Independence Day celebration promised to get the bill passed before Parliament rises, but Parliament is set to rise next week. A leading member of the group, Kofi Bentil, tells TV3 the government will be treated as an enemy of democracy if it fails to pass the bill.
We appreciate the fact that Parliament will rise next week, and that's part of the reason why we wonder what the President meant when he said he was going to have it passed. And that also gives us a source of worry, because is it that he didn't know, or he just was saying something he didn't care about performing on? Okay, we know Parliament is going to rise, and it will be a miracle if they can lay it and pass it, which means already what the President said is not going to come on. Okay, so how do we get assurance that next time around they are going to lay it and then pass it?
The Majority Leader, Mosaiche Mensabonsu, says that they'll try and get it passed at the next sitting. Isn't that enough assurance for you?
I have the President's word. Okay, if I can't rely on the President's word, well, I would like to take Mosaiche Mensabonsu's word in addition to the President's word. Now, actions speak louder than words, okay? And if you're going to do something, you get up and do it and give me the signs that you're going to do it. You haven't even laid it.
We just have, a few days for Parliament to rise. The countdown is on. If we don't see the bill laid in Parliament, what is the group going to do?
If after a year you've passed so many bills and you've not passed this, you are just becoming what you've been criticizing. And when you become what you criticize, when you become the enemy you fought against, when we who stood with you against them at the time begin to start asking you whether you are committed or not, you are clearly making yourself in their image. And if we get to the point where we believe that indeed you have become what you were criticizing, our attitude against you will also change. Any government that does not subject itself to scrutiny, and the first thing you do is to pass the RTI bill, otherwise we will consider that you don't want to be scrutinized. And when we get to that point, then we will treat you like the way we treated others in the past. I hope we don't get there.
The Majority Leader in Parliament and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Mensah Bonsu, has given an assurance that the Right to Information Bill will be passed in the next meeting of Parliament. He was speaking on the sidelines of a meeting of African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, APNAC, here in Accra.
The Majority Leader in Parliament and Member for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Mensah Bonsu, agreed the passage of the Right to Information RTI bill has taken too long and gave some reasons for the delay.
I can assure you that whatever it takes, the next meeting of Parliament would certainly pass that bill. There are two major things that we ran into that caused us to delay a bit and have further consultations. The one relates to where to assess information. And the second relates to what information to make available to the citizenry.
The RTI bill was drafted in 1999 and reviewed in 2003, 2005 and 2007, but was not presented to Parliament until 2013.
You can get interactive with us on our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3 and on Twitter is a News TV3. Away from the RTI, a team of doctors from the United Kingdom is conducting research on the needs of cancer survivors, especially women, in Ghana and Tanzania. The 6-month data collection will help to develop research results for cancer survivors, which will enable them to live better lives.
Cancer patients suffer psychological trauma, discrimination, stress, permanent health impairments, and disability. These effects contribute to emotional distress and mental health problems, and together can lead to substantial social problems such as inability to work and reduced income. These are among reasons Professor Theresa Weissman, Professor of Supportive Cancer Care, and Amanda Shanbridge, consultant nurse, are conducting research into. The exercise is in collaboration with Peace and Love Hospital in Ghana and Ocean Road Clinic in Tanzania. They spoke about the importance of this collaboration for women battling cancer and cancer survivors.
It's a short study, probably 6 months. We'll be collecting data, and it's really so that we can look at what are the needs, what are the similarities, what are the differences to the Ghanaian women and also to the women in Tanzania, so that we can then look at how we can develop resources to help those women at the end.
But I've been looking at women from West Africa who live in London who have breast cancer and how they make decisions about their care. And what we know is similar findings in that they often present much later than women from a white background, that they come to the hospital when their cancers are larger and may have delayed coming forward.
Breast Care International has been embarking on education on how to reduce cases of breast cancer in the country. The most recent one was at Old Tafo Church of Christ and in Carrier Presbyterian Church and in Chumomponua District in the Ashanti region. Chief Executive Officer of Breast Care International, Dr. Beatrice Rafiadai, said 70% of female attendants at hospitals and clinics are illnesses which are minor cancer related. The situation, according to her, is worrying. She also called on government to come up with clear cancer policies to minimize the situation.
In 2016, we realized that in the manifesto of the ruling party, we found out that they have a cancer policy. And that actually excited some of us. To have a cancer policy means you have to do a lot of education, you have to think about screening, you have to do the best ways of treatment and also rehabilitation.
Head pastor of Old Tafo Church of Christ, Prince Adade, commended Breast Care International for the advocacy in their community.
Away from health, let's shift to education, where President Akufo-Addo has reassured Ghanaians his government will sustain the free senior high school policy. He says the benefits the country will derive from the policy makes it imperative to find avenues for its sustenance. He was speaking at the 65th Speech and Prize Giving Day of the Seventh-day Adventist Senior High School at Bekwai.
The event was under the theme, The Free SHS Policy, the Role, Challenges and Prospects of Stakeholders. President Akufo-Addo said although there have been few challenges in the implementation of the free senior high school policy, government is committed to its sustainability.
We will spare no effort in ensuring that this policy succeeds. Free SHS is here to stay. And if we are to build the modern, progressive and prosperous Ghana we desire, each and every one of us here has a major stake in ensuring that we achieve excellence in our educational system.
The president said everyone must have a major stake in delivery of quality education in the country. He expressed serious concern about absenteeism among teachers and students in the country.
Teacher absenteeism is one of the factors that leads to our students recording not too encouraging results in the West African Senior Secondary Certificate Education exams. Our teachers must bear in mind that they are role models to students and they set the bar for excellence and must therefore project excellence to their students.
President Akufo-Addo also reminded students that indiscipline undermines academic work.
Towards the success of the free SHS policy, no headmaster or headmistress is to charge any unapproved or illegal fees or charge fees already exempted under the policy. Government will be strict about this and sanction any school head who flouts this directive.
Awards were given to dignitaries, including the president.
You're still watching news here on NewDay. The Ashaman Municipal Assembly is to reconstruct roads within the municipality with plastic pavement blocks. The municipal chief executive, Albert Otri, told TV3 the assembly is supporting the manufacturers, now Plus Ghana Limited, to increase production to meet the growing demand.
With a growing worldwide middle class, along with the rise of globalization and demand for consumer goods, the world has entered into a phase with plastics that risk suffocating the very economies it helped to create. From house plants to paint to airplane components, there appears to be a cheap plastic alternative everywhere, including Ghana. The toxic effect is clearly evident, particularly in urban areas like Accra and Kumasi. The most effective way to manage plastic waste, according to experts, is through recycling. Yet, approaches to effective reuse of waste from plastic products have been left in the hands of few individuals. The initiative by Plus Ghana Limited to convert plastic waste products into paving block is considered by far the biggest innovation ever in the sector.
It's my initiative to get my community very clean, because Ashama is believed to be a dirty slum. So I gathered all kinds of plastics to come about with a block that lasts for a lifetime.
Plastic waste paving blocks, estimated to have about a 500-year lifespan, will not only address the plastic waste menace in the country, but also serves as an alternative source of cheap material in the road construction sector.
After discussing with him, I got to know that that will be an alternative to the solution for our road deficit.
But how is the Ashaiman Municipal Assembly ensuring the dreams of the innovators meet national demand?
He has been considered for the one district, one factory for Ashaiman. And we are facilitating it to ensure that he gets the needed support in terms of capital and machinery.
As proof to its commitment,
The Assembly has collaborated with Nelplus Ghana Limited to pilot the paving blocks at the police barrier at Tulaku on the Tema Akonsombo Road.
Yes, of course, we are in a very serious road deficit in Ashaiman because we can count of only 2 major roads that are tied. And for that matter, we will take advantage, home advantage, if we are able to industrialize the process.
Albert Oshri has also assured the municipality of plans to use the products in the reconstruction of roads.
And our children and pregnant women in some communities in the Zabzugo district of the Northern region have resorted to sleeping in the open following torrential rain that has left them without roofs. 4 schools have been totally razed by the rainstorm. The rains that began at 3 p.m. Saturday, March 18, 2018, lasted for about 3 hours and left over 2,000 residents homeless. Eyewitnesses say the rain was a combination of rain and windstorm. Communities hard hit include Go Lanyili, Go Kukani, Gupa Ligu, Belido Ednakpali, Ne Budu. Pupils may have to take lessons in the open as 3 classroom blocks for teaching and learning are to be undertaken. Officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, say a total of 152 houses and 3 churches have been affected, and still organization says they have begun the registration. District Chief Executive for Zabzugo, Ahmed Abubakar Idrisu, visited the affected communities. You can get more news updates on our website, 3news.com. You might also want to join our Ghana Month campaign, Wear Ghana, Eat Ghana, Know Ghana, and Watch Ghana with our hashtag We Celebrate GH on Twitter. I'm George Quinn. Good morning.
Welcome back. Let's do newspaper headlines now. Let's start off with a finder. It says interest rates dropped to 24.5%. New formula is expected to lead to further reductions. Also, Dr. Baumia hints of revamping the Tumu Cotton Ginnery. Then RTI law will kill the corrupt. Pass it now. FDA also cautions against South African meat product. And then finally, GCB has assisted 37 military hospital with $232,000 dialysis unit. Okay. Interesting stories there. But interest rates, if they drop,
really, they are coming down?
Yeah, well, the formula should really lead to a lot more reductions for us to benefit.
You think
otherwise.
so? Because the last time it came down, what did the banks do?
That's the thing.
I mean, if we cannot reflect, and we keep asking these questions of the politicians, that look, if the politician says inflation has dropped, this has dropped, how does it reflect in the ball of Kinky? Okay, so if the Bank of Ghana says inflation rates are dropping and all of that, interest rates and everything, we should feel it at the banks. Exactly. When you go and assess a loan or a facility, you should get it. But if you are not getting it, you just go to the banks and everything is almost the same. You save money with them, no show. I mean, what's the essence? It's just figures and news. End of story.
Yeah, but because I mean, if you go to the bank, I mean, even 24% interest rate. For me, it's too high. Yeah. I mean, how do you afford that? Can you pick a loan from a bank, 24% interest, and be able to do any genuine business and be able to pay back? I doubt. So it may be coming down. Let's hope it comes down. But 24, we cannot go and sing praises because it's 24.
But it used to be 30-something. It's 24. I think that it's better than before.
Vehicle loans now run around 30%.
Yes.
So I think the average is 24.
It's 24. But what I'm saying is that, yes, on paper, but if we go to the banks, will you feel it?
Okay.
That's the point. I mean, I know a lot of young people who want to run businesses. They go there and they are shot in the foot. You know, so they come out limping. and they can't.
You certainly will come out limping.
So what about a formula we're told that is there and expected to bring the rate down further? I guess they should quickly put in what would trigger the rate to go down. Then I think businesses can be better off.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Anyway, but FDA is also cautioning against South African meat product because it says that meat product contains some bacteria, Listeria, which we had currently heard about it, that there was an outbreak, and so they are warning us to be careful of such products.
So the key thing for me when the issue started coming out last Friday was how the public can get to know that this particular meat product is from the
South
enterprise group that they were talking about. And I didn't get the kind of answers I wanted because people buy sausages all over. I mean, on the street you can buy sausage, but how do you know that this is from South Africa? Even though we are told that if it's well cooked, it can be eaten and the bacteria.
But in any case, see, Bright, you find that there are those girls or ladies who hawk the yam and the gizzard and the sausage around. They go to a wholesale point. It's already fried and they bring it. So rightly as you're saying, how would I know if I see somebody hawking and I want to buy? How would I know? Or if I go to a restaurant,
South Africa.
How do I know that this one is?
I share your concern.
And you see, beyond the FDA telling us that we must be wary of these things, they must protect us.
Yeah.
And if you ask them this question, every time they will tell you it's a shared responsibility. We agree, but you have a greater responsibility, which is why you are paid to do that job. So if our borders become porous, and I know that the FDA is at the airport, the FDA is at the various entry points, and so if we are not getting it, the Ghana Standards Authority is there, the BNI are at those places, the National Security are there, GRA is there. They are all at these locations, and then these things still find their way into the country, and then you now tell us we must be careful about it. It's like the Bank of Ghana telling us that this microfinance company is not legal, and yet they can't close it down.
Yeah. You know, to speak to this particular issue, I would hope FDA, I agree that they keep coming back to say it's a shared, responsibility. But I would believe that this outbreak, or the fact that they got to realize that the product contains Listeria monocytogenes, came later. That's after some of the produce had already entered the country. And so maybe what is on the market, they can't really, be vigilant about. But the ones that are yet to come in, they do say in this report that they will increase vigilance at the various ports. And if anyone is found to have these goods, they'll be detained and the necessary regulatory actions taken. But I also want to bring to light the fact that we Ghanaians, in general, don't pay particular attention to the products we go and purchase.
Even expiry
we don't
dates.
read. We don't read around it, because you pick up a product, the most important thing, especially when it comes to canned food or things processed, you should look at the expiry date, you should look at where it's coming from, and at least, it's difficult to do, but if you're your education is intensified, then you look out for these things and you even check before you get to a particular store what brands are safe, what brands are not safe, where are they coming from, which country has an outbreak of what, and then it will become a norm, a regular thing that even a child will look out for before but we often don't do it, and so we get caught up in all these issues.
FDA's excuse that there may be some already on the market, sorry, which is what they are trying to caution us about. In other jurisdictions where there are also FDAs, what happens is when the goods are cleared from the ports, whichever it is, they know who cleared it, the address it is going, the wholesale point. The wholesale point can tell you where it retailed it to. You get the point. So now if the FDA is telling us to be careful, who brought the thing in from the port? Who cleared it? Because that's why you pay import duty and everything. Who cleared it? Where did it go? To which of their bonded warehouses? Okay, now who went to take it from there? And how was it distributed? Then you can recall it. But if you tell us that, it's already out there, I don't get it. This is not palm oil, which was produced maybe in Kede. And so you say, oh, it's spread already. We do know where these things come through. And we're telling them this morning that, look, we can do better. We can do better. Imagine somebody dies.
But in the meantime,
we can only say sorry.
Out there, let's also educate viewers that FDA is warning against foods that are processed coming from Enterprise Foods in South Africa. So it's also a subsidiary of Tiger Brands company. So maybe you might look at their products.
The good thing, according to the FDA, is that at least they got wind of the outbreak of the virus,
the
bacteria, and then ensure that no product from that group was let into the country. I think what their worry was what was already on the market.
On the market, right.
And according to, I mean, the woman in charge of
Maria Lovelace Johnson,
she said that, look, the group itself has recalled these products.
Right.
So luckily, we might not get the product coming in after the outbreak.
Right.
But what is left to be done is to ensure that those already on the shelves are clear.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have created that awareness and might have done the right thing by stopping more imports of that product.
But see, right, this is one product. I remember last year, for example, the number of those cases that we had. Anytime you ask, they'll tell you it's a joint, it's a collaboration. We all need to be responsible for it. We get it, but I'm saying that somebody has the duty of care to protect all of us. From Sudan dye to when they formalin, is it formalin that they put in Kobe, to name them, name all those things. So then you're asking yourself, where are we going and what exactly is happening? It looks as if the gatekeeping rule and the duty, I don't get it.
Right, let's
I don't get it.
They just, I think at this point, what they have to do is get more people on the ground to do the post-marketing.
I have made that suggestion. I said, look,
that is where most of the issues
go to the University of Ghana. There are so many unemployed graduates. Go to GIG, go to all of them. Now, get these people who have a first degree, give them 3 months or 2 months training how to run market surveillance, and then put them on a commission. If you are able to lead us to expose some of these wrongs, we will give you X amount of money. How difficult is that one? That the person sitting at home and doesn't have a job, and somebody will be expecting that the person should come to the job with some work experience. Gathered from where? Work experience gathered from where? Meanwhile, we have state institutions who could just say, okay, look, we're putting everybody on a retainer, something for transport in and out. But then, for our own sakes and for our own safety, we will train you, and then you go to the markets. Your granite paste, agushi, all those things that are usually adulterated. Go and test for it and look out for these things. If you find it, let's know where it is. We can get them, find them, and give you a portion of it as your commission. How difficult is that? Is that rocket science?
It seems to be difficult. But anyway, let's touch on Ghanaian Times. It says, one village, one dam takes off. Work to start in 3 northern regions next month. That's coming from the Vice President. Also, Kumasi is hotspot for sale of uncustomed vehicles. Then the President says police to recruit 4,000 personnel this year. And then finally, a man arrested for possessing gun. But I think Daily Graphic is also having an issue because it said due to technical challenges beyond our control, your publications, Daily Graphic, Graphic Showbiz, and Graphic Sports have been delayed hitting the newsstands this morning. These are, however, available on Graphic Online and Graphic News app on Google Play Store. Management and staff of Graphic Communications Group Limited apologize for any inconvenience caused.
I see.
That's a blow.
Yeah, that's a big one. But I mean, the papers will come. It's just going to be delayed. So look out for it.
It could be a technical fault.
Transfer, good morning.
They do say it's technical.
Transfer, good morning, senior man.
But the President says the police is to recruit about 4,000 personnel this year. Again, it's nothing new. I think we've heard this.
We've heard it.
Time
Look, I want to tie that in with.
But the point is how resourced they are and how diligent they are.
I want to tie that in with a man who was found with a gun. You remember the Royal Motors robbery case? Okay. How many weeks has it been? The police, the police say they have gotten the suspects, correct?
Yes, we saw the picture.
But then what we saw on the front page of the graphic was artist impression. If you have arrested, for example, Bright, and he is your suspect, like they did in the Kwabena incident, why didn't they put the picture of Bright there, but they put an artist impression? Why having the people...
An artist impression with the name.
Yes, but I'm saying... In the Kwabena incident, they could have put up an artist. These were even people who had absconded. They had not been arrested. But they put out their photos and they were determined to get it. Now, in the Royal Motors incident, they knew the suspects. They had gotten them. But they put up an artist impression. My question is, why? Number 2, it's been more than 3 weeks since that incident. When are they going to court? Have they been charged yet? We know that in our law, you can't keep somebody beyond 48 hours by and not charge the person. So it's been more than 3 weeks, or maybe close to same. Why haven't the people been charged? When are they taking to?
Well, we can
court?
assume they've been going to court.
Oh,
I mean, we have to assume that.
You're assuming.
Hey,
I'm asking these questions because we have seen in other cases, and you see, it fits into the theory that when it is one of them,
there's a lot.
Once it is one of the men in uniform, the action to get the culprits are very quick. If it is us, there seems to be a certain lax approach to it.
To dealing with the situation.
Look, people were stopped right in the heart of the street. Guns were fired, their money was taken, somebody's vehicle was taken from him, and nothing has happened. Do we know the trauma that people are going through at this
let's
point?
hope it is not true.
No, nobody has said anything. And we have a correspondent who goes to the headquarters every now and then. Nobody has said it. You see, if somebody has said it, it's a different matter. And nobody has said it, and we get an artist impression. And I'm saying that if you have really arrested the suspects as you want us to believe, why did you put an artist impression of the suspects on the front page of no other paper than the Daily Graphic?
Johnny, let's hope they are doing the right thing.
You get the point. So good morning, IGP. Good morning to our prosecutors. This is a very important national conversation. And you see, the confidence that we want the people to have in you and that we also have in you, please don't break it. We have been talking about the fact that you are not properly resourced and all of that. Thankfully, if you're able to arrest the suspects, let's deal with the bread and butter issues.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that particular one because I remember Mamitiwa coming out to say that they didn't know how to take these max shots and all that, and they had gone through a training process after the incident, and so subsequently we'll see improvement.
We spoke about it after the Kwabena incident,
and we lauded them, and then right after that you come back and give us this kind of attitude. So I'm wondering, is it that now you're resourced, now you don't have an excuse, but you'd rather just not do it? And so at what point do we put responsibility or push government to do certain things? Because when they actually help you by equipping you, you don't use it, and so at some point you may just not get the favor anymore.
I don't
really
impression bit.
I also don't get it.
The president said this at, I think, in the Ashanti region, where he had gone to, I think, inaugurate the offices for the Bekwai Police Division. So this is from the president. As to the finer details, we are unable to tell. But you see, I'm just praying that the public will be made to know the processes leading up to this recruitment. You see, because we're complaining about the caliber of police officers we have, and I think that our security analysts have been able to observe what is going on and realize that some people get into the service through means that are not right.
Protocol.
What we call protocol. So, for instance, these days, even members of parliament are able to say that, look, I help this number of persons to get into the police service. Okay. What process can we find in this one? The 4,000, where are they going to come from? Are we still going to see the same issue of a minister or a member of a party, the ruling party, saying that these are my people, take them into the police service? MPs, these are my people, put them into the service. Okay, are we going to see the same thing as it has happened before? We've been told it happened, and are we going to see the same thing? I'll be interested to find out how this 4,000 will be recruited. But this is just a passing statement by the first gentleman of the land. So
but at least 4,000 is better than 500 by the immigration service. And if that's anything to go by, per the UN dictates, one policeman to 500 people. Even if we still get this 4,000, we'll still have a backlog. But that's true. Point is, do we have money enough to resource them, get them the guns? Because the guns are in the hands of bad people. Now imagine a policeman who has a Kalashnikov, is trying to fire it and it's not firing, and somebody has a gun. Just imagine. Just imagine. Anyway, we'll take a break here. When we return, Daily Rant will be up on your screens.
Welcome back. It's time for us to rant. Last week we heard that some people who have committed sanitation offenses had been arrested and asked to go to the prisons. But the question is, our prisons are already overcrowded. Do you think there was another way this issue could have been handled, such as community service or otherwise? Let's see what you have to say as we rant with George.
This is what it feels like.
on Daily Rounds, we are talking sanitation. Many have thus expressed their doubt about government's inability to, attain the pledge of making Accra the cleanest in Africa. And we are told 3 persons have been jailed for 2 years for sanitation offenses. Our prison is not full already, and some also think we should go back to the Salifua Mankwa days. So maybe if later you are told to just say clean all the place around you. What do you think? This is Daily Rounds.
Let me say, Anka, I was say, Chomuno, Form ko baby, to say area Oma say hono, no clean area ho, clean the whole area. Sanitation day, but say Omu ye hoffing. And do sanitation day. Until yes, I bet you say, do sanitation day now, my baby. But I was a young chum who's among first no, who to be was a crowd or chiwa. Or ma who prepare now, do you call area be who bed dosa? Whoa, into Uncle Sana, or more, Uncle better. Where are you doing, Marco to more Muniscano? On Betra days no ever. You have feed your money, Yama, no more pay free. Into your koya na buy. And a prison no so I am. Nkofa more and kura and so on. Into a hobby and a yedico can a man your own war. Into memory anka. Yadomuko area been omuko clean your anka better.
Yanko back to Ebia tankers. Satamunu na nkoda see. E tankers for about no say no bia fani ni bola no dey see. Look at the bola no be say ni pharmacy. Say what I say. Until if you go back to that days, let me say ebe boy. Salifua Mankwa say you nkoda stadium. One stadium. Dey bia Gardens one stadium, Independence Square one. Salifua Mankwa ne ewo ye yi. Be satam na me say papa no ye ni pa born bia. Ye ni me say na oya dey yi. So ufa Gardens mu a or bet you know the atu near calculator. Who bet now was our unshare match no be. Until bet now was our copy a day match no be. If you go to Togo, Benin, the French country, that's a sanitation day. All the shops were locked. Nobody is working. If I'm working and you are standing, I will inform the police to come and arrest you. Okay. And I will not go and be like maybe informant too. No. I will just talk the police straight to you. This, my brother, is not obeying the law. So arrest him. If we the citizens were able to do that, I think Ghana would be even better than America.
See, I'm going to prison. You see, can you do a coffee or move? When I say, okay, I mean, one day I'm coming down. I do more no. Area more yes, I do not map when you say me brother Kaya, no map when you know, be say I do more a bad.
It's good to punish offenders of the law, but what kind of punishment do we have to administer to some people? You understand? You can't imprison someone who steals a goat for 8 months or a year, and then you imprison someone who litters around for 8 months. You see, you have to set an example with those people. Use them as scapegoat. Let the whole country see that yes, these are offenders of the law, and this is what is being done to them. Instead of 8 months in jail, why not 1 year communal service? They should work for a year. Let the Zoom Lion go for a break. These are just 3 people. I'm telling you, not for the whole Ghana, but I mean the community where they're littered. Let the Zoom Lion people that work within that community go for break. Go and help another people, because I believe they are not enough. Yes. I believe they are not enough. So these 3 people, or how many people, I mean they were. Let them do the Zoom Lions work for a year, or at least the 8 months they were given. Yeah. They will feed themselves, they will clothe themselves, they will give themselves shelter. I wasn't there during our question, but then I've heard stories, just like my brothers and my mom here said. I mean, it's just amazing when you hear what the guy has done during his time, and then how neat the place is. But now all we hear are just stories. How Accra used to be beautiful, how the here used to be, how this guy used to be. Why can't we have those days back now? Because I think we even need it more now than he was needed back then.
And then he prison ho ayema. And then ye were bigger offenses are ye prison for no ye chance ye be for my day ediakogu. Now this mere offense will be later near the neck of peso e wo prison o. And the pede records you see who in a woman cell back. Nipa be 200 and they do just a single cell. Na eya reho say baby obi ni tibeto So who kwa penny or cell hono on no obetre how to even sleep. So who runs the woman who rebel or mind Ghana. So you say you punish so many people. You making sure say you imprison so many people. Then we need to also create a friend say a serene improve your prison services, no. And so and there as a country, no, you won't be bisa. Media the mechanic say Obi, you find Obi who touch him. I was saying same way who. There's a say the yano. Ebi asani ami brain na mi brain king. There are so many punishments and no. And yet, after na yede kofa mbremu, oho na ye tiwa ni ya chiro de say we yeden. Oye. It doesn't matter. Oko so many countries, your community services na ye kano. They have been attached to the youth service. Obi will have voluntary. Obetimi asori say me pese me pepa ha. Obi so oho no say be on number bi. Aha na eni kwan say wanu so eni kwan say de pure water beto. Ah, no or the koye some mistake ne de to a. Oho na no bi o ben no cry say o ka chere say masa de waye no fa. Now, so what taking in need, we can say, what taking steps and making sure that the person is being punished, and it shouldn't be necessary being to be in prison or to be sent to court for we can say for any kind of fines. Yeah, catch us instantly. The person here, the Nima Ninasha won't say Nima, it's as a offense with no pranima. And in this offenses, now you pay to you once a year count. A general thing when it comes to sanitation issue, we shouldn't try to what you call minimize it. Because it's a very, very serious offense. But the best in Yanka, ma obiantu yashwe. Nanu, yamomu nanye jumano. Because I say nipa 3 nunkanye juma.
May I appeal my government to me say, that's been look. I almost say juma ni wonu. Me catch it share. Almost say juma ni wonu. Ejuma ni o, it's still ejuma ni o. Nipa pe ejuma share. Who did that be menu mensasi a 24 hours so be or be ejuma on monitor so you pay him how much now worth yanuka. So what I said, the person should be there 24 hours. If possible, they should not shift. Uber no power from 12 hours now I no this wapa. The next day should the same thing. And what be need? So what I said, but who this your kwa? Or me so me bola I be gumo. So what I said, and me want to yenu kusu mamika chiro. And your government to know. Look, Ghanaians don't understand the meaning of governments. Me the Mr. NCC say, educate here. The meaning of government. Government you know kufa do ana NDC, ana NPP, ana PS, na government you. Meaning one government you. Yeah, that's true. It is no they are my politicians you know. So why not the politician would not be corrupt? How say would you ask and be onusu obe ade
me fa krobi end to Ghana ho. Tama ye ko Saudi ya. Me kuta pure water me ko me kuta vortic no. Ekuta me na tesa bani di mechi sa o zoom la yo di mechi sa ti me de two company of fire am no ka che me say ma me yes sabi e say me to buka sa pa me studio mate won enti e de e ba ni sa na Ghana say I start fi first na Ghana enye fi sa na e ba ni say e say you fu so mo we hwe adwuma so na aba no e fi am me
onye register be prabola onye
ah ade tira e adwuma
Wako University of Pejuma also be problem.
But then have we created that avenue for the youth to reject it?
Yes,
it has not been tried.
They won't do it.
No. But there are people working at Zoom Lion. Have they rejected the job?
No.
It's not necessarily. No, it's not necessarily. The graduate doesn't have to necessarily come out and then clean the street. Look, you can let him be maybe supervisor of people who it's just like Aurora is saying. And then I believe there are so many people who are doing the work.
I'm telling you, somebody who is feeling hungry, he has completed education, is not getting work. So especially those cleaning early in the morning roadside. You see, they can be graduates. You don't know. There was once I saw a certain guy. I'll not mention his name. He's a graduate. Yes. I was passing with my car. I saw him early morning. He was cleaning. Early morning, like 5 days, they are cleaning the. This graduate. Say, oh my brother, I'm just looking for something to push myself forward. So there are graduates who can do the work
on the professional way.
On the professional way, you don't know even that he's.
I'm telling you, for Africans, we are not thinking beyond future. You see, we are thinking now. Royal, if I got it now, I'm finished. I don't think of anything again. But the white men are thinking far.
They are thinking generation ahead. Look, the gap between the white man and the black man, the African and the Europeans, the African and the Americans is like me, Aurora, and Jesus Christ. I'm telling you for a fact, the gap is wide. Why? We are all the same human being. Why can't we learn?
Well, according to the public, long-term measures and policies must be put in place with regards to sanitation, and maybe that might, expedite efforts in attaining the press, pledge to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Let's know your thoughts on this. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter is our News TV3. Our WhatsApp number 050-823-5228. Just engage us with your comments. We're always ready to read them and share them with the rest of the world. Good morning.
This is what
All right, and Heritage is starting the morning and says that soldiers, police face social media ban. That's the big one on the Heritage. The BNFT says shippers divided over cargo disinfection exercise, cost factor versus public safety. That's on the BNFT. The Gold Street Business has that story. Charge fumigation cost to shipping lines. We are already burdened with 19 levies. That's the Ghana Union of Traders Association. The finder says interest rates dropped to 24.5%. New formula expected to lead to further reductions. FDA cautions against South African product. Those are some of the papers I have this morning. My guest to do the talking this morning, the Member of Parliament for the Adaklu constituency, a member of the NDC, Kwame Apuja, is here. Good morning.
Good morning,
Hope you're doing great.
Yes. Right.
Thanks for your Monday morning with us. And then also the Member of Parliament for the Efutu constituency, a member of the NPP, Honorable Alexander Fenyamaki, is also here. Good morning too.
Morning, sir.
And thanks for your time. You've been away for some time. Welcome back home.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let's start the morning. This story on the Ghanaian Times, I think, is worth commenting on. One village, one dam takes off. Work to start in 3 northern regions next month. That's the Vice President. The story captured on page 17 of Times says that the Vice President has announced that construction of dams under the government's policy of one village, one dam for the 3 northern regions will start in earnest by the beginning of next month. The Vice President was speaking in Tumu, and he said that 570 dams will be constructed in all 3 regions of the north, including the Upper West region. And so he was particularly in the Sisala East districts and told the people that the Sisala East and West districts will get 20 of the dams, 10 each for the districts respectively. That's the story. He joined the people of Tumu to celebrate their festival, and that's where he told the people about the takeoff of this project. Honorable Fenyamaki, let me begin with you. The dams, if you have been to the 3 northern regions, the dams are very, very key to the lives of the people. Farming is a major thing there. The difficulty is that farmers there would have to wait for the rains all the time to be able to do some production, except a few places that have some dams running. So one village, one dam is key to them. We're told that it's taking off. Now, how committed is government to this project?
Well, right. When it comes to agriculture and the need to make available facilities or infrastructure to boost food production, we must receive such initiatives without giving it political coloration. Since the Achiampong era, where a lot of efforts were made in ensuring that our farmers get the needed boosts, we've not had such an overwhelming commitment. And I'm sure that was the reason why in the MPP manifesto of 2016, so much emphasis was placed on the need to support our farmers. Of course, in the 2017 budget, which was the first budget of the new administration, a provision was made to that effect. But you and I know that we had a budget realistically for April to December. So really, no government can do that much. This year is a full action year.
So that explains the delay in taking over.
Oh, quite obviously. I mean, if we are all being sincere with the issues, you inherit a country, you inherit an economy, and you already have a vote on account, which would last you up to April, 31st of March. You bring in yours, it takes off in April. There are a lot of things that you realign. Yes, practically you are in control, but structurally, you would have to set your own agenda in motion. So that 9 months, really, you have to use that to form your government, get your ministers, even the ministers, you know, trying to set their own vision in motion and all that. You can't really achieve much. And that one, I'm sure our friends on the other side would agree, although publicly they may want to debate on such issues. Be that as it may, the Vice President has given assurance to the people in the 3 northern regions, areas where we need to have the dam. And look, I visited part of the Upper West region 2 months ago, and I really saw things for myself that, look, in dry season, our farmers, they suffer.
Right.
And if we are able to provide for them, the level of poverty would come down, because people need water to survive. People need water to boost their farming activities. The absence thereof is a big worry. So it is not politics.
Right.
It is a real matter for the people there to benefit. And I'm sure that very soon, like he said, they would benefit from that initiative, and they will see that indeed the government did not play on their emotions. They need it and they would get it.
I'm grateful. Honorable Agbuja, the assurance from the Vice President next month for the takeoff, the people of the 3 northern regions, how should they take it?
Well, good morning to you, Bright, and good morning to my very good friend, Honorable Afenyo Marking, and good morning to your cherished viewers, especially those viewing us from my comfortable abode in Adaklu. Bright, you've asked a very good question. How should they take it? They should take it exactly the way I took the promise of Dr. Baumia about giving me and my district $1 million a year. And as we speak, we haven't gotten 1 penny. We're in the 2nd year. Bright, I agree largely with my brother when he says that one of the surest ways of dealing with poverty or alleviating poverty is to give people the ability to do what they do best. And in the 3 northern regions, and in fact, most parts of the country, including Adaklu, a dam that can give a sustainable supply of water, especially in the dry season, would do us a lot of good. The problem, however, is this. This is the 2018 budget presented on behalf of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo. I haven't seen anything in this budget that actually made provision for over 500 dams.
570
dams. I sit in Parliament with my colleague. I haven't also seen any loan agreement or grant or anything that is coming to this country which will be used to do that dam. There was a talk of some 66 million Ghana cedi to build about 100 dams or something like that some time ago. So first of all, they said if a he-goat want to sell you perfume, you ask him, how come you have a distinctive smell? I don't think this is different from what the Vice President has said in many other situations. He promised that, and indeed, you remember when he started the promise, he said they were ready with the $1 million per constituency, and that the districts and the constituencies should fashion out exactly what they want to use the projects for, so that people in Accra will not chop the money. People in Accra will not chop the money. In other words, that money was there and available when the Vice President was talking. When faced with the reality, they pretended that, oh, when we said the $1 million was there, we were talking about when we established the three development zones, then we'll put the money there. As we speak, I am aware, and my brother is aware, the 3 development zones have been established. They pushed Parliament, and we did
Parliament has passed.
Yes, we did a good job by rushing them through and passing them. What we saw was that in the dailies, there was a publication of building 10 toilets in every constituency and apply the part of the $1 million to it. Whilst myself and my DC in Adaklu were thinking that $1 million times 4, that's $4 million, we could actually complete part of the 5 district water projects started by the previous administration, which has substantially gotten to a point, but we were left with pipes to do the distribution. We agreed on that. So giving us 10 toilets in place of water was not what the issue was. So if the Vice President today says to the 3 northern regions, they are building 570 dams, and the cost of that dam is not known, it is surely not in this budget, well, I wish those dams could be built, but as far as I'm aware, Dr. Bawumia is back on the campaign trail. He believes that saying things to people just keep their hopes alive is all that is needed. I have no business challenging him on this, but I know I will urge the people in the northern region. If the dams come, fine, but we just want to know where the money for this dam is coming from, so that we can properly relate to it. But as of now, this dam matter, we are just about to start the rainy season. Not too long ago, Dr. Bawumia said that, how do you expect us to build a dam when it is raining? The dry season started from December or so, and we are now completing March. When the rains are about to start, all of a sudden, Dr. Bawumia have found the technology to build dams in the rainy season. Because surely they are not going to build the 570 dams by the time the rain starts. So perhaps the Chinese have shown him a technology that can now build dams in the rainy season. We are all looking forward to the 500 and something, but he likes asking questions. Ghanaians would like to know the source of funding of the 570 dams, because this budget presented on behalf of President Akufo-Addo doesn't have any provision for 570 dams.
Right.
Okay. Other from your market.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he's raising some questions about funding and
one
stuff like
good
that.
thing about debating with Kwame is, I mean, we deal with issues.
Right.
It's good. Let's refer to paragraph 219 of
okay, that's the budget statement.
Yes, please. The Northern Development Authority developed an all-year-round irrigation facility on a 400-hectare farm, 2017. The point is, it isn't a mirage. It isn't a political rhetoric. The irrigation, the dam that the president talked about, the MPP talked about in its manifesto, in spite of all the challenges, it came into being. It was started. 2017, some works were done. And these are matters in the budget referring to 2017 achievement, okay? They have not challenged that. But on the flip side, right, you see, sometimes I think our friends are not consistent. They are not consistent in the sense that the very promises that we made in our campaign manifesto, and those ones that we are achieving, we are implementing rather boldly, they criticize us. They fail to even acknowledge, just to throw dust into the eyes of the Ghanaian people. Why? The free SHS policy, which they said, no, it's not achievable, you can't do it. We did not delay. First year in office, in spite of all challenges, it was
rolled out. Is this something that he would say again that is another promise yet to be fulfilled? You come to the issue of the restoration of the nursing training allowances, where the training allowances that they said it was not possible at all. The teacher training allowances. Things that they themselves have said, these were not possible. Today, the statutory payments are up to date. And they know that.
I thought with the training allowance,
no,
they suggested that allow access instead of paying the money to the student.
Are we limiting
because
access?
Then you cut.
No, were we not having challenges with unemployment? Were we not having so many people out there who were not being employed? Were they not facing that challenge? If you allow access, you match it with your demand. Because it's critical. Somebody going to the nursing school and that allowance that he or she expects, and you deny that person and you say, no, I'm introducing a new system. That new system, which is not backed by law, which in itself, the government did not know how it was going to implement it. It was another politics. But I'm saying that we committed to it in our manifesto. We've done so. Today, the digital address system, have we? The national ID that we say, look, we needed to have all the support systems in place to roll it out. They even criticize us that, oh, the president went for the first card and nothing had been done. Meanwhile, they knew
that something is being.
Of course. So
the president received the card somewhere last year, is it?
Of course. I mean, to signal that, look, we are committed to it, because it's an integrated system which is going to be the primary source of all data. So obviously, you need the Electoral Commission, you need other institutions of state, the SNIT, you need an NHI, so that you would have an integrated system where if you have the national ID, that is one authenticated data that you can use for everything. So for instance, Electoral Commission would not need to start a whole new process. If they are going to start their registration, you are supposed to be a Ghanaian, you must have it, and that's it. These are the necessary information that we need to build. Why? Our banks, the cost of borrowing is high because sometimes they are not even sure of where you stay and all that, your address, all these things go, into the cost of borrowing and all that. Today, the bonds that in their time they were issuing, in other words, cost of raising funds for government business, they were doing it around 23%. We are not getting 23% because of prudent management. We are getting at 19%. I keep challenging the NDC to look at issues. Now, if you are in office for 8 years, somebody comes into office a year trying to put the fundamentals in place, then you go on and say, oh, the person is failing, the person has failed, the person is promised, and is mere rhetoric. When you know fundamental achievement have been attained just within a year, applaud that person, give that government that opportunity, rather than always going to the extreme. And I think that is what they are doing, and that is most unfair. But we'll pin them to the issues. Yeah. We will. The development authorities, we've done the 3. You know that under our laws, there is no way government can spend without the necessary statutory backing. You know it, and he knows. So if we say that, look, we have in place the development authorities, the 1 million, 1 district, or we want to channel them through development. We want to use the law to back it so that you don't just get up and spend. You can't just transfer government money to a district and allow people to spend. It's not possible.
So what did the minister mean when she said the money is ready if the right things had not been done?
Look, let's get the argument right. If I say I am committed to something, that is the first assurance. I talk about availability. That is the second step. The third step is implementation. Implementation will require the legislative framework You can't just spend government money. It's a matter of fact.
So if my viewers are getting it, the money is ready, but you think that the right...
Not I think that. As a matter of fact, you need the law to guide your expenditure. It is a matter of our law.
So did the minister,
even
when
the minister
she said the money was ready and that it can be accessed and that all they need are for these constituencies to bring their proposals?
Look, with the greatest respect, Article 179, authorization of expenditure. Authorization of expenditure. The president shall cause to be prepared and laid before Parliament at least 1 month before the end of financial year, estimate of revenues and expenditure of the government of Ghana for the following financial year. The estimate of the expenditure of all public office and public corporations, other than those set up as commercial ventures, shall be classified and etc., etc. Now, you cannot spend state funds.
So the minister erred?
The minister couldn't have erred. The minister gave the commitment of government. Look, I want to do this. We are ready to do it. The next thing is to take it through the process, because it's a matter of law. You remember during the Kufuor era, the youth employment program, when it was rolled out, later the NDC came and accused the NPP administration that, it wasn't backed by law. The Maslock initiative, they said that there was no legislative framework and all that. I'm saying that as a matter of law, you cannot spend public funds. So if we take the step to implement, we must come to Parliament, we must back it with law, and that is what it's all about.
Okay.
So what else do you want?
Let me get Kwame.
Yeah, just a few. For a fact, statutory funds are all in arrears. You and I know by now we should have. Oh yeah. I mean, well, no. I must be honest. This is not the first time statutory funds have been in arrears. Even under the previous government, of which of my party, statutory funds were in arrears. I'm just trying to correct him. Get fund is in arrears. NHIS
qualified.
No, you said we are up to date.
Yes, I'm not. So from when?
No, they are all in arrears.
Since when? We are in March. Please. We got the payment in December. No, right.
Okay.
Facts are facts. We are in March.
Hold on.
You said March has not, and you expect the first quarter. It's paid in arrears. Please, are you saying that September to December it's in arrears?
You allow him. I hope I'll get you to react. But
generalizing me, I want he's good at that. Let's deal with
specific.
Yes,
that which month? So you are suggesting that
quarterly in arrears.
As of let's say March or February or December, you have been able to. That's what you're saying. Okay, you can't be going.
He volunteered that information that the government is up to date on statutory funds. I'm saying that. Get fund is in arrears.
Which is the last quarter?
Exactly. Not only the last quarter. In fact, we
are in March now. This is the first quarter.
2017.
Okay.
He knows about it because members of parliament have a share of the common fund that we apply to projects in our community. That is it. The second thing is about the nursing training allowances. I fully support President Mahama on that matter. In fact, left to me alone, when we are back in government, do not restore necessary training allowance. I would rather have to use that money to create the opportunity so that the 300 qualified medical doctors that are sitting at home watching us today, instead of sitting in the consulting room, would have work to do. So we make no excuse for that. So he can say that is their reason. For that reason, not even a cheap compound was built for 2 years. That is their policy. They are happy that
been in power for 2 years.
You are in the second year. Not even a cheap compound was built because for them, once you pay necessary training allowance, healthcare is sorted out.
So you would also abrogate the health. The free SHS.
No, we will not abrogate.
You can't say the free SHS.
Yes, but allow him to talk.
We are engaging each other.
But don't engage
in when he's talking. With the free SHS, like President Mahama have been saying.
What would you do?
Set up a broad-based consultation to come out with what is sustainable.
I think Market has been talking about this issue.
The last thing, you see, I am happy he quoted Articles 179, which is that you need Parliament's authorization to utilize government fund. I am very happy he said that. One, I just told you now that in the budget under the special initiative ministry, the minister calls something dams and dugouts. When we say maybe they will just use hole to dig something out, 100 of them for 66 million. That is what have been passed in Parliament. So I am challenging Dr. Bawumia. Where is the source of funding for 570 dams? Simply because Honorable Afenyo is saying that according to Article 179, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia, you cannot spend that money without Parliament authorization. We have given you 66 million Ghana cedi to build 100 dams. So how are you able to build 470 extra dams with the 66 million Ghana cedi that we have given you? That is all we are saying. We are not saying that building a dam, that there's no need for preparation and other things to build a dam. No, why would you do that? You can't just go and start digging a dam. He was the one who started talking technically by saying that you can't build a dam in the rainy season. You can't do this at that time. So we are saying that according to Article 179, Dr. Bawumia, show us the source of funding of the. Okay, of course, where the source, because currently it is not available. So I would say that.
But the 100, you are satisfied with the 100. In fact, that came to Parliament.
Oh yes,
and
we passed it.
Yes, you are satisfied with the 100.
Oh yeah, we passed it together.
Efforts have been made.
We've passed it together with the borehole for 130,000.
So that has been done.
Okay,
right. At least he's been sincere.
Yes, he's only asking that where is the 407?
No, he's not saying so. He's saying the additional one.
I said, where's the extra?
Yes, the additional.
Yeah, the extra. That's a legitimate question.
Will come.
So he agrees that the 100
have been approved by Parliament.
Yes. So we have kept faith. In other words, we have. No.
All right.
No, I am
moving on. 570.
I agree, but we've kept faith with the 100. Haven't we?
We've passed it. There's no dam anywhere yet.
We have kept faith.
Yes, we passed it.
And last year we did 400-hectare farm.
We passed the budget.
And last year 400-hectare farm.
The same way we passed an agreement to build Pokwasi overpass.
The overpass.
And then I will not say much now. Somebody for 6 months decides that contract will not be signed because we'll come back later.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Right to Information bill. The House is rising on Friday, I guess. And over last week, it was, I think, a couple of issues were raised on the floor. The Finder has a story on it, but this is a familiar story. We don't need to recap what the Finder is saying. But, Honorable Afenyo-Markin, again, is the House really committed to passing this bill?
Is
the House scared about passing this bill?
Why do you think that Parliament, or for that matter, political leaders, would not want this law to come into being? Why do you think?
You're a politician. I should be asking you.
Right. I would be better off. No, I would be better off as a political leader to have this law. It would do away with speculation, unnecessary speculation. It is the right of the citizen to get information, far right. And in looking at rights, you also look at responsibilities and duties. So don't just look at your side as a media house, that your right to information. We need to put the structures in place to protect and safeguard all matters in issue. Well, I recall in the last the State Parliament where we were part of, the NDC administration brought the bill. Along the line, there were issues for us to address. It couldn't come into fruition. But you know our system, the way our laws are, it is such that once Parliament tenure comes to an end, whatever process thereof will truncate. You have to start anew. So it's a matter of the law, not me. So you cannot, you cannot even say that, oh, we got to second consideration, oh, we're just about third reading, so let's go through that. No, you can't. It has to start anew. So the president gave his commitment that, look, we have the document, cabinet has approved it, but you see, the process of getting from cabinet, coming to parliament,
going to gazette it. The Supreme Court position in Ghana today is that procedure is as important as the substance. You can be knocked down on the matter of procedure. So you cannot rush it and circumvent the process and the procedures. The process of gazetting it, the last time that the special prosecutor thing came to Parliament, I remember the minority shut it down because at the time they said, oh, it's not been gazetted and all that.
Right.
A couple of bills come, and because of technicalities, it would have to go back.
But does it take 1 year to go through a gazetting process?
It doesn't take a year.
Right.
What I think I need to tell you this morning is that Parliament is committed.
The public don't seem to see that.
Well, it's a fair perception for the public to say that we don't say it. But I am here to say that Parliament is committed. I don't speak for Parliament, but at least seeing what we all up to, I'm saying that Parliament is committed. The government has done its bit. Parliament will do what is needful, and Ghanaians would have this RTI. I know people are so passionate about it. I, in particular, like I earlier said, it will do away with unnecessary speculation. Because sometimes we speculate a lot in the media. You need information. Because you don't have it, you have some irregular source. They give you some scanty information. You play on it. But where you need legitimate information, you get it, you write, and then you get it, or you even seek the intervention of the court to get it. You are able to put out accurate facts. And it helps all of us, because when this law is coming into being, I mean, why would you hide something? If you come into public office, apart from some official document that strictly you can put out, that border on security and all that, there are quite a number of information that you need to put out. Somebody needs it. It helps you yourself as a political leader. It helps you yourself as a civil servant, as an administrator, because once the facts are there, nobody will speculate. So we need the law, and there should be no problem.
I see. Is the public thinking that the politician is scared of this law, and so let's drag our feet in passing it? Is it a right thinking?
Well, maybe the process so far might have created the impression that Parliament, don't forget, we don't implement the laws.
Right.
And I've always said, in Ghanaian Parliament, 99% of what we do is government business, because private members' bills and things are still not something we are used to yet. So when myself and my brother turn up in the chamber tomorrow, we are expected to do government business, apart from maybe items 1 to 3, maybe statements, votes, correction of votes, and proceedings and other things. Much of what we do as business in the House is government business. Indeed, this bill has traveled quite a long time, and Ghanaians and many civil society, and rightly so, have been demanding its passage. Indeed, I agree with him. We nearly got it there in the life of the last Parliament. But by the arrangement of our constitution and parliamentary standing orders, even if it's just about to say all those in favor say yes or no, and then the light goes off and we couldn't do it, and the life of that parliament ceases, it dies with whatever we are doing. Those are the facts. But I also agree that government can make it a priority. The truth is that the processes we've gone through, even with civil society, people who brought in memos and other things that have been incorporated, you would have thought that there was no need for the process to be that elongated again, because in actual fact, we have gone through it. What are we talking about? Right to information bill. We said we were just about to do the last few stages in passing of a law. Indeed, I mean, I remember very well in the life of this current parliament, we were made to sit and pass a law to revoke the appointment of government appointees at assembly. You remember that day was the day the Almighty God actually ripped off the roof of a parliament through a rainstorm. We sat there, and in fact, the rains were dripping onto Speaker's desk. All of us were scared, but we sat there to make sure we pass a law to revoke the appointment of government appointees at the assembly, because it was top priority to government, because they wanted to do that before the DCEs are nominated and voted for at assembly. It was a priority, they did it. It was priority for government to bring the law on the 3 development zones. They brought it. We did a good job. We passed it for them. The Zongo Development Fund and many other things. In fact, and on weekly basis, bringing a motion for us to borrow money for government to have. And we are, in fact, tomorrow there will be more loans. In fact, the gargantuan loans, I'm talking about massive loans. We are borrowing on weekly basis for them. So if there's anybody within the public who feels that there's a deliberate attempt not to pass the RTI bill, then government must prove them wrong by tomorrow morning, bring it and say, stop everything, Parliament, pass the RTI bill. I want it as a priority. Right, we'll do it.
You're rising on Friday. Is it
yes, hopefully on Friday.
But on your order paper for last week, it's not on it. So the business for this week.
We are masters of our own orders.
Oh, you can change it?
Oh, yes, okay. We can do anything. In fact, the only thing we can't do is to change Honorable Fenyo Marking to Adaklu constituency by law. We can't do that. But in fact, if the president wants RTI bill introduced in Parliament tomorrow and we start working on it, believe me, we can start tomorrow. So if you don't see it happen before we rise, nobody should say because we don't have enough time. In fact, we can start the process now, and we can even do a good job before we rise.
So it's just up to government to
not Parliament, government. Because if government brings it, we would work on it.
Okay, let's deal with interest rates. Oh, okay. Well, I can give you the time to sing on if you want.
What song are you singing?
All right. I think he said it is government that has to come in, so we can move
it's
on.
Not him and
we are dealing with the issue.
We're wrapping up in the next 5 minutes, so let's deal with the interest rate that have dropped to 24.5%. And the finder says that it's down. Data published by Bank of Ghana showing that the interest rates are down. The average is about 24.5%. And the good news is that per what the Bank of Ghana is saying, other formula that have been put down likely to see the rate dropping more. Good news for small businesses, people who go in for these loans to fix 1 or 2 things. Perhaps it's a sign that things are beginning to thaw.
And it can get better. It can even get better. I mean, for those of us who believe that the private sector is the only surest way to grow our economy. Anything good for the private sector is welcoming. I mean, if I go borrowing and I am charged so much interest, it is my profit that is going. So we know in the NDC era how difficult it was, how expensive it was for Ghanaian businesses. Today, we are aware of the relief that Ghanaian businesses are going to have by way of the electricity tariffs that have been reduced. We know it. They can't argue about it. They could not do it in the NDC 8-year rule. But today, it is a reality, and they know that. People were investing so much in treasury bills because the rates were high. People were giving money to government instead of investing such monies. Today, treasury bill is around 12-13% or even less, Kwame, not so. As compared to your time, 24%, 25%, somebody having money will immediately go and invest in treasury bill instead of taking the risk. So you see a world of difference in terms of the confidence people have. You see a world of difference in terms of management. You know, anytime the NDC is in power, you see treasury bill going up because the government concentration was on that area, borrowing directly from the people and crowding out the private sector. We are not experiencing that today. So let's encourage the private sector. And of course, I also concede that a lot of people are complaining about duties at the port.
all because of the streamlining, you know, that happened, the paperless system. You know, at first, the whole valuation process, you know, was such that there wasn't consistency. An attempt by government to streamline it has led to people having to pay more, although duties have not been increased, although government has not introduced any new tax on imports. All right, these are concerns that I'm sure government would address, and I'm sure there will be positive outcome, because traders are worried. Traders feel that well, how come items that we're bringing in, goods that we're bringing in, suddenly are going up, although government hasn't introduced any new tax or hasn't increased taxation. But I'm sure it's all because of the streamlining, and government would address these concerns so that people will have a better, you know, opportunity in the economy. Whilst I say this, let me also quickly add that our customs officials must also be fair in their dealing with Ghanaian importers. We need their commitment. Without their commitment, nothing would happen. I had somebody telling me her sad experience. The person is into frozen foods. And she tells me that, look, Honorable, those of us who are doing it in small scale, we are Ghanaians. We bring the frozen food in. We pay. Our other counterpart who are foreigners, they have the warehousing system. So they get it on credit. They take the goods to their warehouse. But you realize that they are able to sell it cheap because the customs officials who are supposed to do the stock taking properly, these people sell, you know, they sell out and take in, and they are able to outweigh the system. They don't pay the requisite tax. So they are able to sell cheaper. And the Ghanaian businesses are suffering. I am saying this because most Ghanaian businesses say that, look, there is no level playing field. When it comes to them and their foreign counterparts, they seem to get some advantage because of, you know, the system. You know, they are able to outwit, I mean, bluntly put, they are able to outwit the system, and it appears that, you know, the officials, public servants who are supposed to guide the system seem to tilt or assist them in one way or the other. Then Ghanaian businesses rather suffer. These all these add up to the frustration. Right. Let me also conclude quickly on this important thing. The unemployment situation in Ghana. Look, it is not the Nana Akufo-Addo who would be at the immigration office to enforce our laws. Today, many people, most of these are foreign investors, bring in artisans in the construction sector. Somebody over the weekend asked me to go to Splinters Road. Why? We have people coming in as carpenters and masons, steel benders.
And they are allowed in.
And they are allowed in. What kind of system do we have? Immigration must be up and doing. The laws are clear. If they come in because they have invested, and our local artisans who are supposed to also tap in, they don't get the opportunity, then we are adding on to the unemployment situation. That somebody would set up his business and bring a carpenter, you know, from Greece or from China. Why?
There are a lot of carpenters in my hometown.
I mean, tiling, POP, we don't have it.
Okay,
it's a serious matter. So immigration, they should wake up, because these are things that add on to the frustration. And if you allow somebody who's doing his business, he has invested in the economy, he's bringing people from his home country, and then he's not tapping into local expertise, then really, what are we into?
Right. I'm grateful. Kwame, so coming here, the interest rates, the drop, the Bank of Ghana is assuring that the drop will continue due to some formula they're expecting banks to begin implementing by the beginning of April. Is that good news for us, I guess?
Well, right, you will notice that some economic indices getting better didn't start even in 2017. Interest rates, the stability of the Ghanaian cedi, our foreign reserves were all indicators that were getting better even towards the end of 2016. And even the IMF and the World Bank and our development partners predicted that things could even get better, including inflation and everything, in 2017, 2018. But you know, as we sit here, inflation has started notching up again.
Went up the last time.
Right. Bank of Ghana's data, I have no reason to fault them. It is true.
You don't trust the data?
Oh, no, I don't have any doubts about them. What I'm saying is that much of what they say and what we feel as Ghanaians have become very academic. It's very academic. Why do I say this is very academic? You have a situation where Bank of Ghana says that interest rates have come up. And indeed, with them, it has come up. When myself and my brother go to the bank to borrow today, it's no good news. It's not getting any better. So that is why I call it academic. It's just good for classroom teaching because of the formula things he's talking about that Mawukam. Right. Today, the cost of living in this country has gone through the roof. The cost of fuel is going up. Unemployment, and get to page 162 of the 2018 budget, and I read, we promise to pursue policies that will create jobs and in the economy, and we are delivering. The budget, this budget, by the grace of God, will deliver handsomely on jobs. If these indices you're talking about were getting that better, how come we are not able to see it in our lives? He said something which is quite profound. And that is why I read this part. That it is government who is saying that we promise to pursue policies that will create jobs. We didn't elect them to come and tell us that there are too many Masons from Togo or Thailand or POP people from Azerbaijan. You said you put in policies. So where are your policies that would ensure these things happen? So you can't come here and moan. You are in government. You are a big man in your party. You are a big man in government. You sit here, everybody respects.
Kwame, is this suggesting that they are creating the jobs, but it's being taken over by these foreigners?
My brother, which jobs?
Oh, right.
They are not creating any jobs. They are still promising young people. And I said this is what we as politicians do, and one day the youth of this country will rise up against us. You are still trying to tell the youth that because you are going to recruit 7,000 people into the police or the army, that is job creation. That is total lie. We cannot solve unemployment in this country by recruiting into the police or army. I agree with him 100% when he says that our surest bet of solving unemployment, he runs private business around private business. I employ 10, he employs 20, you employ 15. That is the sustainable way of solving the problem. But when you put things in a book like this, that you bring policies, so far as a businessman, I don't know which policy government have brought so far that I can say has saved me. Money. Maybe
the interest rate going down.
But you see, the cost of fuel, the amount of fuel, he runs transportation. The electricity tariff coming down, don't forget, hasn't even come down yet. They will say April 1st it will come down. The cost of running his transport business is up, but he can't sit down here and say because it's part of government. The amount of fuel he spends on his trucks, maintenance, the cost of parts are all through the roof. So Bank of Ghana telling us things have come down, I'm saying it's simply academic. I don't feel it because unemployment is going up, fuel prices are going up. Nothing this government have done so far that gives me a businessman or an average Ghanaian hope.
So we cannot raise issues of structural defect in our economy to discuss them.
It is.
So is there anything wrong in me bringing to the fore issues of immigration where our Ghanaian businesses face difficulties?
Where is your policy according to this budget?
Hold on. Yes. Is there anything wrong? Yes. The policy is there, but implementation will require all of us as Ghanaians collective will to achieve that. Not so.
It is true.
So Kwame, because of partisan gain.
No.
Because of partisan patronage.
No.
You want to tell me that it is wrong to raise an issue?
The man is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana forces, including the immigration.
Right, I expect you to
on your market. If immigration is misbehaving, the president can deal with it.
Right. Where we have issues in our public service, we discuss them and bring that to the attention of
when you want to have
Brian, you are not being fair to this.
And say that, hey, deal with this.
Of course, but I'm saying that you have human beings who act on behalf of authority. Like Professor Moss, hold on.
When they didn't like the governors of Bank of Ghana,
unfortunately, I have run out of time.
When they didn't like the governors of Bank of Ghana, they asked them to proceed on leave.
Kwame Agboja is a member of parliament for the Adaklu constituency. He's a member of the NDC. Honorable Afenyo Makin. Alexander Afenyo Makin is a member of parliament for Efutu constituency, a member of the NPP. He said they need extended time. I'll grant them the time next week when they come. All right. Welcome back to New Day. Now we're talking mission, brought to you by Star Ghana and it owners being the NIDA, DFID, and the European Union, and that's what you've been seeing on weekends on TV3. Now let's recap one of the stories that you have seen. Now some pupils of Mile 70, a community in the Pandai district of the northern region, abandoned school to engage in hunting. They cite the lack of teaching and learning materials as a reason for staying away from school.
Mile 70 is densely populated. Poverty is rife. Some children are not in school. Hunting is what they do. It's a sunny Monday afternoon. Some pupils are returning from their hunting expedition. They have spent more than 5 hours, but had no catch. Frustration is therefore high. With simple tools, they hunt for game. They made a clean pair of heels when they met the mission team, but they recovered from their shock and returned. They insisted they don't talk to strangers, so the mission team should follow them home to seek their parents' consent. They claim they support their parents with the benefits from their hunting.
I learned you've not been learning at home. Why?
Master, we don't have books. Our parents do not have money. They will go and take yarn and go and sell. The money is not many. Then they should use it to buy books for us.
An opinion leader of Mile 70 claims the child hunters do not inform their parents about their hunting activities.
I was not at home when the children left for their hunting expedition. They don't take advice.
This is a worry to parents.
Teachers have also been exploiting pupils in their farming activities, so they sometimes don't come home early after school. The pupils get tired, so they don't learn at home.
The assembly member for the area holds an opposing view. He said, although the district lacks funds to improve education, much is being done.
Parents who engage their children or their works at farm after school hours should stop so that they will be able to use such time to study. In fact, some parents, I would not want to say they are not responsible, but they have not given much time to their children's education. This is because you see children going to the bush. Parents will tell you they are not aware, but where has the child left before going to the bush? When the child brings this animal, the child will bring it to the house. Do you question the child, where did you get such an animal? Or where did you get such a thing? They don't.
The Pandai District Education Office, though close to the Mile 70 community, officers are not aware of the situation. District Chief Executive for Pandai, Emmanuel Tatablata, assures of resolving the issue.
I am trying to organize a group of people that I think even after holidays, if they can organize some small classes for some of the children in some of the areas that I think they lack some basic amenities. I have spoken to the director and also the exam officer to see how best he can also assist me as the DC. That when I succeed in this, it is not me, but it's the district.
Learning at home is hindered by parents' inability to support their wards with books.
What they have been alleged, I don't want to say it is false, but I think it is not true. Because if they say because they don't have electricity to learn at night, and I don't think going to hunting will solve the problem.
The district assembly has a huge task in stopping this practice. Stanley Niblewu, TV3 News, Mile 70, Pandai.
All right, and mission is also in the Wa East, the Dafema, Bushe Isa, the Kasina, Nankana West, and several other districts. And it is supported greatly by donors, the European Union, Danida, DFID, and in partnership with Star Ghana. The Director of Programs Director of Star Ghana is with me in the studio, Ibrahim Tanko Amide. Good morning.
Good morning.
Grateful for your time this morning.
Pleasure.
So let's start from here. In the mission is basically in the field of education and health. Yes. What is the brain behind this?
I think the partnership between Star Ghana and TV3 started way back in the first phase of the Star Ghana program, I think around 2012.
Right.
At that time, the focus of Star was to look at how we can improve citizens' access to social services, particularly health and education. But we also realized that a lot of the conversations were around the quality of these services in the urban areas. Someone needed to tell the untold stories of people living beyond the purview of the mainstream media and etc. TV3 approached us with a concept that we liked very much, and I think that partnership has been going on for, almost from 2012 to date.
And so the idea is to tease out these challenges and see how duty bearers will respond to it.
Exactly. So first is to bring up the stories, what is happening outside the urban areas. Then two, to see how these stories can be used to foster, to bring about action on the part of the duty bearers. So bring up the stories, use that to get action from those who are supposed to act.
What were the expectations from the duty bearers?
Well, I think primarily the expectation was to paint a true picture of what was happening, but also to use those stories to mobilize support. Because in some situations, it is not out of neglect, but really a lack of resources, a lack of leadership, a lack of will. So these Mission Ghana stories kind of served to mobilize the kind of resources that were needed to take action on this issue.
And from where you sit and you have seen the stories show on TV and the responses, are you satisfied with what duty bearers are, the way they are reacting to these stories?
Well, I mean, you can't be completely satisfied in situations of this nature. But I think at a certain level, we are satisfied that these stories are coming up. In the past, the media used to focus on what the president said, what the vice president said, what the ministers did, what where DC went. But Mission Ghana is surfacing these stories of citizens of this country, deprived of the most basic of social services. So at that level, we are quite satisfied. I think the second is to see how do we use these stories to begin to question the underlying reasons why things are this way. I mean, think of the number of communities in this country. The number that Mission Ghana is covering is just a very minute percentage.
Right.
What happens in the rest of the state? So I think the second phase, the other phase, is really to see how we can begin to have the conversations around why are things this way? Why is almost 90% of the education budget going into the payment of salaries, and yet you drive a few kilometers outside Accra and there are no teachers in the classrooms? I mean, you've shown pictures of communities where children are just there. There are no teachers. There are no books. There are no health centers. So we think that the next phase of this should begin to question the underlying issues.
Right.
You know, leading to the kind of situations that we've been seeing on our screens.
The perception that the program is only targeted at making duty bearers unpopular. How would you react to it?
Well, I think in the kind of partisan political atmosphere we have in this country, everything is seen through partisan lenses. But first of all, Mission Ghana did not start today. You know, it has continued across, you know, 2 political regimes. So if it were targeting a particular political regime or duty bearers, it would have stopped after the change in government, but it's continued. And I think the second thing too is that something does not become a reality because you say it's so. It is a reality because that is what exists on the ground. So whether TV3 talks about this or not, these are the realities. And we begin to see the fruits of those realities in the army of unemployed people out there, in the high unacceptable mortality rates, and etc. So there's no need whitewashing and, you know, showing maybe Ridge Hospital or whatever as an example of how the health system in Ghana is to paint the true picture. So for those duty bearers who think that this is to make them look bad, I think they have a wrong perception. And indeed, there are examples of duty bearers who got assistance after TV3 aired this. I remember the example of Bongo, where there was, you had a school where they didn't have furniture. After the program, you had a number of citizens from that community that, you know, decided to donate furniture for the school. And I'm sure there are countless other examples of duty bearers who got support after the situation they had been seen on TV.
You at Star Ghana, you've been running around the country. What is the response of communities and the people that you engage in about Mission Ghana?
I think it's amazing. Completely beyond the expectations of Star Ghana when we started this. You know, I just came back from the north last week, and everywhere I went, those who knew I was associated with Star, oh, the Mission Ghana program, Mission Ghana program. You have people who wait, you know, especially weekends, you know, after simply because they want to watch Mission Ghana. I mean, it's been amazing. And I've also interacted with policymakers at the national level and say, oh, this your program is really interesting, it's really amazing, it's really educative. So I think it's really, really, really good.
In wrapping up, where is the partnership with TV3 going from here?
I think first of all is to widen it. You know, we are
the next phase.
The next phase. Currently, we are telling the stories of just a small percentage of the communities in this country. We need to widen it, but we also need to deepen it. Deepen in the sense that how do we foster the conversations between communities and duty bearers on how to address these fundamental problems. So I can see the next phase of Mission Ghana beginning to bring, maybe you air something about education, and you bring maybe the Director General, the Minister or whatever into your studios here to discuss what do we need to do about this, you know, so that we go beyond telling community stories to begin to facilitate a national conversation around the critical issues of education and health. Without getting these two rights, you know, we are finished as a country.
I'm grateful for your time with me. Ibrahim Tanko Amidu is a program director at Star Ghana. And don't forget that Mission is brought to you by Star Ghana with the support of the NIDA, DFID, and the European Union. Stay tuned right here to TV3 because weekends Mission is on Saturday and Sunday. Stay with us. There is more after this.
Forum happening in respect of tourism for the sub-region here in Accra. We're going to be having a conversation with Ben Ananinsia. He's the marketing manager of the Ghana Tourism Authority. Chief, good morning. It's been a long time. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
How are we doing?
Fine, fine.
So, this forum that we want to, the West Africa Integrated Travel, you know, seminar, to what end?
Okay.
call it wait, just like you're waiting for something. West Africa Integrated Travel Forum.
Okay.
The idea is to have, and maybe let me go back a little. The trend now is to have regional destinations.
Right.
You know, if you go to South Africa and East Africa, who are doing very well, a tourist, when he decides to go to one country, almost invariably is linked up with the neighboring attractions.
Exactly.
And we have to appreciate that there are many areas and many places where somebody can be enticed to go to.
Okay.
So when you have a bigger offer or multiple destination offer within a single offering, it makes the destination more attractive.
Okay.
So for Ghana, for example, people may want to come to Ghana for all the things we say, but if they know that coming to Ghana can also easily and without hassle link them up to Benin or Cote d'Ivoire or Burkina Faso, you get larger numbers and the traffic grows. So vice versa, the people who are coming to Cote d'Ivoire can easily come to Ghana.
There have been issues, I like the concept, but there have been issues about border. For example, you're going from Ghana through Togo to Nigeria, you get to the border, the gendarme, they are all over you.
Absolutely.
Have we cured those things?
That is precisely one of the reasons for this forum. We need to work on joint marketing of the destination among the tourism authorities, and also impress upon the necessary, the relevant policy makers and authorities to ease the travel blocks. Because without that, we really make the flows impossible.
And we're sure that this forum will raise the issues.
Oh, I can't say
that
at the end
of
it ends on Wednesday. I don't say Thursday everything will happen. But the more you harp on these difficulties, and the more people see the benefit of hassle-free tourism, and then and the more people are encouraged to do regional tours, then it will happen.
You are the marketing guru that sits at the Ghana Tourism Authority, and I've traveled around the country fairly. I've seen that you go to the tourist attraction, and even the people around where the tourist attraction is don't even understand the concept of tourism. It's a big issue. People come from US, they go to Elmina, they get there, and the people around there think that it's time for us to exploit these people. The concept of tourism is not being drummed home properly.
Yes.
How does that fit into this conversation?
Well, let's come back home, and it's a good topic.
Right.
You see, there are different degrees of appreciation of what tourism does. Okay. It's a very important economic sector because the value chain can be very wide.
Right.
If you took, say a simple tourist who flies in by British Airways, he interacts with immigration, interacts with customs, interacts with the taxi cab that will take him to his hotel, interacts with the front office of the hotel, the restaurant of the hotel, he eats some food that's bought from somewhere, he goes to the art center, he uses transport, he probably might patronize some entertainment, and he goes on tour, so the tourist dollar can really stretch.
Exactly.
And every person along this value chain stands to gain if he does his job right. Now, and for that to succeed, you need proper stakeholder engagement. So if there's a community which doesn't appreciate that this tourist is a benefit to me in terms of he's going to buy a product I do, or he's going to leave some money in the community, then there's a gap that must be filled.
Right.
But I cannot say that.
How do we bring the people to understand this?
No, you see, human beings are rational. If they see that what is happening is benefiting them, and that's why some of the management of the tourist attractions have to be retooled. They have to be reworked.
So, for example, speaking of which, I went to Cape Coast, and then I went to the Kakum National Park.
Yes.
I noticed that the Forestry Commission has a hold on it. Then I went to the castles, and I realized that the Museums and Monuments Board have a hold on it.
That's right.
It looks checkered, the management. You on one side, Forestry Commission on another side, Museums and Monuments Board on another side. I don't know who else is in there.
Well, there are multiple owners.
So then it doesn't give us the advantage that others in the sub-region have.
No, it's not necessarily a problem in itself. I mean, if you went to London and you went to Madame Tussauds, who owns Madame Tussauds? Probably not the British Tourist Authority or Visit Britain.
Right.
And you go to Windsor Castle, the Queen stays there.
But if what you're saying, the people around Kakum, say Asim Mesamago, they see that money is collected from Kakum and they don't feel it.
That is what I'm coming to.
The money goes to
recently
the Forestry Commission hasn't come to you?
It doesn't have to come to us, but there has to be a mechanism that recognizes that traditional authorities have a stake, the district assembly has a stake, the community has a stake, and the management of the tourist attraction itself has a stake. We recently had to go to Kintampo after disaster, and we put in, I mean, those of you who have been there recently, there has been quite a change.
Exactly.
But then we put in a mechanism that where revenue is split between the district assembly, the traditional authorities, and the site itself. Now, when the authorities, the district assembly realize, now I have to put security and I have to collect garbage, and there's resources to do that. And the traditional authority now sees benefit from giving its land. And now there are resources for painting the gates and paying the staff, and everybody is happy, and you can expand. Then there's harmony.
Then will grow.
Then there's harmony.
So wait is happening Tuesday.
Today. So it starts with a cocktail this evening, and I'm giving you an open invitation.
Right.
You know,
where we having it?
It's at the Accra Tourist Information Center.
Okay, right opposite the Flagstaff House.
Yes. No, but the forum, like I said, is to look at joint marketing, look at how to ease the travel blocks, and then there will also be lessons from the other regions that have done so, better than we have, because there are maybe about 200 to 250 million people in West Africa right now. And a dollar is a dollar, whether it comes from American or a Togolese.
We will get it. So wait, we have to work on tonight that. We're starting the cocktail, and then we'll go until Wednesday.
Yes.
Tuesday and Wednesday will be at Accra International Conference. Will it be a full day event?
The first day is a full day event. The second day ends from about 2 p.m.
Okay, so we start at 8 a.m. on the first day.
8:30.
8:30, and then we run through. I thank you very much. Who can attend?
You were invited as a press.
I'm invited. Yes. Thank you very much. So that's Ben Ananisia, is marketing manager of the Ghana Tourism Authority. There's a WAIT conference day. It's happening. We want to look at how to retool and promote everything tourism around here, so we can have collaboration with other countries as well. Stay with us, because the Women for Alliance for Women in Media Africa are up next. We're going to hear some interesting conversations. Joy will come in the morning, because tomorrow the Women in Media, a strong alliance, they're gathering at the British Council Hall, and I've been joined by Shamima Muslim, who will tell us all about the activities that are geared towards shaping our future. Shamima, assalam.
Wa alaikum salam.
And everything all right?
Everything kush.
So I've seen the flyer, I've seen the big wigs on it.
Yes.
My own Prof. Gajeko is there. I've seen a lot more faces, Nanaya Freata and all of that.
Yes.
What's happening?
Right, so the Alliance for Women in Media Africa, we registered last year, so you perhaps didn't hear much about us. Last year we were still forming, as with all groups. So what we are trying to do is to bring all women in media together into an association of sorts to discuss a number of things. One, we want to have women in media who have capacities to grow and progress in the media industry. Since the beginning of Ghana's media development, there's always been women and great stories of women. The Elizabeth Ohines of our time, who grew to become the first editor of the graphic newspaper. Many of them stories untold. Yes. Yes, editor of Times, GJA president several times, and now editor of the Datsy. Yes, great woman, stories yet to be told. So we want to create a platform that, one, first seeks to increase and build capacities of women in media through trainings, through workshops, through seminars, through conversations, as what we are having tomorrow. So this is one of our key programs tomorrow. And we also want to contribute to a global discourse where the stories, the images, and the voices of women, girls, and the vulnerable are adequately, fairly, and rightfully represented. because there's that underrepresentation, and there's a narrative that sometimes is a bit more disempowering to the woman. So we want to build capacity to be able to input more in a more empowering way, contributing to this global discourse. And of course, we then want to contribute to our governance process by having our governance programs where we advocate for the passage of right policies and programs and laws that would affect and deal positively with the issues of women.
Brilliant, if you like, thought patterns there, and I think that it would fly. I'm worried about funding, because oftentimes when you talk about these things, then it comes back to kwacha. Do we have the kwacha to
You know, my theme for tomorrow's event, as I will share, is the power of collaboration, a phone and a yes.
Wow.
Because in 10 days, 186 women from across the media divide who are on our platform have shown that with collaboration, with technology, with a yes, with a willing attitude to come together and perform, we can pull together wonders. And this program is purely funded by our own selves.
Wow.
We have members who created the graphics. We have members who gave, who created jingles. All women. Wow. We had British Council that gave us a 50% discount. We have people who supported us with money, ourselves, and just my husband who also gave us some money. But everything has been contributions by the women.
Wow.
And this is what we're using to do this event. And it's just to show to people that we are able to do much with a little, with collaboration, pulling our resources together, our talents together, and that's what we have shown
How do we ensure that this fine idea will not just stay in one corner? Because oftentimes you find that we pay lip service to issues regarding women.
Yes.
Even in government.
Yes.
You know, the whole talk about gender parity and all those talks. If you look at the number of people who are appointed into political positions. So how do we ensure that we don't get this just in one corner, where it's just women gathering one small corner?
In fact, it's not only women, because as we said from our flyer, it's a conversation among stakeholders. Because women in media cannot progress if the employers don't understand what their peculiar needs are, if workplaces are not mindful of creating enabling environment. That's what I said, with just a telephone. We have not had a physical meeting to plan this event, and yet this event is coming off. So how do we create some of these enabling environments for women or other people in our workplaces to ensure that we draw in the requisite expertise with minimum interruption to other things? And this is what we're doing. Men are there. I have invited you. I hope to see you. We have to have that conversation.
Yes,
he's a lone ranger amongst the speakers. But we want the male perspective as well. We want people who are in certain management positions in Media House to tell us what is the challenge with dealing and working with colleague women, because we want to hear the truths as well as the perspectives. That's the only way in which we can plan on how
we're starting
to make
tomorrow,
impact.
4 p.m. Who will be there? Who will be speaking to the women?
So tomorrow we have 2 panels. Of course, our patron, Dr. Audrey Gajipo, will give us some welcome remarks. I would also be there to give us a background on ALMA. We have our first panel, which will be talking about the legacy and lessons, because there are great women on whose shoulder that we stand on today as women in media. We want to hear their story. We want to hear the challenges they overcame, the legacies they left behind, so we can be inspired to tackle the future. So we have Dr. Sarah Kwaku, Akrofi Kwaku from the Center for Communication Studies at the University of Ghana. And we have Nanaya Oforiata. And if you recall her time as host of Newsfile on Joy FM, it was exciting times during that program.
We had her on the Election Command Center in December.
She's fantastic. So they are on our first panel, and after the panel we come to take special contributions from some of the trailblazers who will be there. So we're hoping to have Elizabeth Ohene, who is confirmed she will be there, make input, as well as the senior journalist who will be there to share. Then we'll move into a research that was done by in 2013 by Dr. Abina Yaboabenin, also of the Communications Department of Legon. She looked into the lives of 3 women and their socialization from home and workplace, and how the so-called natural abilities of women help them to traverse their corporate environment and actually rise to the top. Then we have our second panel, which is made up of Inshirado, Nanaba Namoa, and then Edith Dankwa of the Business and Financial Times.
Shamima, I thank you very much. Tomorrow looks like a packed bouquet, but I'm happy that it's happening at 4. And we can get into 8 and we can have the conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Congratulations for all that you're doing. We're proud of you. And on that note, we'll wrap up the whole show here. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. New Day, it's your award-winning show. You know, it'll be we they talk, with the people they talk. But thank you to Grandpa for making me look spectacular this morning. Have a great day. Top of the morning to you.